bad seat in the house for boxing. A good crowd here for Wednesday night fights. They have seen fireworks throughout. See if that trend continues. 6 rounds of featherweights. Jose Hernandez going up against Noe Balanos.
His professional record, 11 wins, 1 loss with 6 wins.
Jose Hernandez is just 20 years old, 5'8", 128 pounds. He's from Fort Worth, Texas. He's 6-1 with 2 knockouts, and he's coming off the only loss of his career. It was last September, so 11 months off for Jose Hernandez. Noe Balanos, also 20 years old. He's from Mexico, 5'8", 128. He is 15-1 with 9 knockouts, having started his pro career back in 2003. Tommy Kimmons is the referee, and they're scheduled for 6.
And you received your instructions. I want to remind you, this order to watch you fight, so keep it clean. Touch him up.
Some similarities here, Joe. Both these fighters picked up their only loss in their last fight. They're both only 20 years old, and they both turned pro very young at 17 years of age.
Bolanos fought more recently. Bolanos is in the black trunks with silver trim. He lost an 8-rounder to Adalton De Jesus back on March 16th. The loss for Hernandez, we told you, was last September, and that came in a 10-round fight up in Connecticut against the good-looking, undefeated prospect, Matt Remillard.
Hernandez's brother actually fought earlier tonight.
Luis
scored that comeback knockout victory. You know, it's a good thing that his brother won, because that can really bother brother. That's the danger of 2 brothers fighting on a card. The one that's fighting second, if the one that fights first loses, that can mentally really throw off the brother who still has to fight. Hernandez now, his mind is clear, his brother's okay. But if his brother had not been okay, and his brother, of course, got hurt in that fight, then Hernandez could be going into this fight not with the right psychological attitude that you want a fighter to have.
We've talked about that many times when we have featured the top prospects, the Peterson brothers, and even just the fact that whoever's fighting first, the other brother, instead of getting mentally prepared and focused for their fight, which comes up later, they're peeking from behind the locker rooms to watch their brother fight. Perhaps that was the case with Jose Hernandez earlier tonight. He is in the Mexican flag colored trunks.
And you could see that Hernandez, in those flag-colored trunks as you just described, he's got the advantage a little bit of size. Little longer arms, little taller. Needs to use that advantage at a certain distance on the outside. I just saw something that takes that advantage away when you're taller and when you're longer, Joe. Hernandez, a lot of his punches are round. They have an arc in them. When you don't throw straight punches, it's hard to use that wingspan as an advantage, because now you're not throwing straight punches. You can't stay outside and be the taller guy. When you throw round punches, you have to get close.
Combination from Hernandez. Double up the left hand, and then a straight right hand puts down Bolanos.
Nice left hook underneath that set up that right hand up top by Hernandez.
Remember, it's been a night of knockouts. Will we have another one here?
And again, you can see the size difference. It just looks like Hernandez got the biggest shoulders, a little physically stronger than Bolanos.
Bolanos tried to split the guard. Hernandez shooting off long shots at range. He had himself a big first round.
A look of the knockdown from the first round. You could see Bolanos retreating a little bit. Left hook upstairs, and then the right hand right behind it. We'll take one more look. You're going to see the double left hook downstairs, upstairs. Nice three-punch combination by Hernandez to put Bolanos on the floor.
His brother Luis scored a second-round TKO earlier tonight in a wild affair against the previously unbeaten Jesus Pabon. Now Hernandez with a chance to end this in spectacular fashion. Punch Track is brought to you by Just for Men Hair Color, and in that first round, Hernandez a 37-22 advantage. Of course, the three-punch combination of those 37 scoring the knockdown.
I thought Hernandez looked bigger in the first round, as I mentioned. Now after scoring a knockdown, he looks even bigger. His confidence just surging.
Bolanos opened up for a moment there, and Hernandez came right back with a right hand.
Right now, Hernandez has the advantage. He's the bigger man. He's got the biggest shoulders. He's got the longer arms. He's taller. And you can see that he's comfortable fighting inside or outside. For the most part, Hernandez has shown really an appetite to give up that height advantage and want to fight inside. The problem here for Bolanos is it looks like the only place that he has a chance is inside. And looks like Hernandez just has more firepower on the inside. Hernandez has not chosen to use that option that I think he has, Joe, with those long arms where he could take it outside if he wants. Right now, only fighting inside, and right now, Bolanos creeping back into this fight. You know, I mentioned in the first round before Hernandez scored that knockdown that yeah, he's got long arms. Yeah, he's a little taller than Bolanos, but he throws most of his punches round. And he gives up that height advantage because you got to get close to a guy that throws round punches. You can't stay outside even if you have long arms. And you can see most of the punches Hernandez throws are all of the hook variety, all of the arch variety. And there are opportunities while he's throwing those punches for Bolanos to punch in between.
Bolanos lets his hands go, and then Hernandez chases him. He went straight back, and Hernandez just fumbled him.
There's still going to be an opportunity here for Bolanos, I think, to do something in between those wide swings. He's game enough, I think, to give himself an opportunity to do that.
Two tough and active 20-year-olds going at it here on Wednesday Night Fights. End of two. Just outside of the main entrance to this fabulous arena here in Hollywood, Florida, that has been home to so many championship fights and televised cards. Hernandez opens up this third round with a straight right hand. Bolanos, though, you said it, Teddy, he is a game young man.
And that gameness is keeping him in the picture. If he can get inside some of those wide shots of Hernandez, he can still make it interesting, and he just found Hernandez with a left hook a moment ago.
Found the spot as Hernandez opened up.
No doubt Hernandez has more firepower. But Bolanos, plenty of grit.
Good-looking combination in the first round. Scored a knockdown for the 6-1 Jose Hernandez in the Mexican flag trunks. This is round number 3. They're scheduled for 6. It's been a night of knockdowns here at the Hard Rock. Luis Hernandez, the older brother of Jose, had a second-round TKO to open up the night.
Okay? You okay? Keep him up. Let's go.
Right hand to the belt line, then goes upstairs with 2 punches, does Hernandez.
Even though Hernandez has more firepower and Bolanos has tasted it, he's given Bolanos his best chance because Bolanos only can win on the inside, even though he might get beat on the inside because Hernandez is stronger. But Bolanos doesn't have the reach to deal with Hernandez on the outside, so he has to go inside to have a chance. Hernandez giving him that chance by not using the option I talked about earlier, Joe, where with those long arms he could go outside and really shut out Bolanos and make it very difficult for Bolanos to find any place to have confidence. Hernandez, that's not his temperament. Well, now he takes it outside a little bit, but in the end, he winds up in close.
Punch racetrack numbers, the headshots, Hernandez a 72-33 advantage and counting. There's a three-punch combination and started with the jab. Now he tries to close that gap, and he does with Bolanos against the ropes.
You know, it just doesn't take as much for Hernandez to get the job done and to get effect as it does for Bolanos. Bolanos has to land a lot of punches. You can see he puts 4 or 5 together there to get any effect. Hernandez is a stronger guy. He can land 1 or 2, and he gets a result.
Right hand at the end of that three-punch combination landed for Hernandez. Wide looping shot from Bolanos. Hernandez missed a golden opportunity there.
Right now, Hernandez just a stronger guy.
Busy pace. End of 3.
No. Come on.
Montreal, where the Busch Series was on the road course there. They had a wild one on Saturday. Round number 4, scheduled for 6. Jose Hernandez off to a very good start against Noe Bolanos. Hernandez is in the Mexican flag colored trunks. He scored a knockdown in the first round and then was sharp and active in rounds 2 and 3. So thus the big edge, 30-26 after 3 rounds. But Bolanos has been game and connects with a good combination upstairs there. Hernandez fires back.
You mentioned it earlier, 11 months since Hernandez was last in the ring. Bolanos was in the ring 5 months ago, but the inactivity didn't hurt Hernandez so far tonight, and you can see why. When you have a guy who's right in front of you, who doesn't test certain timing skills, where you don't have to chase him, you know, that coordination, that timing doesn't have to be tested, then you could be off for 11 months, and it doesn't hurt you. The rust doesn't show, because you have a cooperative guy, a guy who's going to set up right in front of you, and that's exactly what Bolanos has done for Hernandez.
Both men trying to work to the body.
For the most part, this kind of fight is going to belong to Hernandez because he's just physically stronger in the trenches.
Right hand comes in for Hernandez.
But he does throw wide, and there will be a chance every once in a while for Bolanos, if he can shorten up, tighten up one of his shots to get something home. And that's his only hope, I think, right now. Wide is not going to do it for Bolanos. He needs to think straight.
Bolanos lets the hands go. Hernandez returns fire. 6 consecutive pushes back to create some room. Right hand lands again for Hernandez.
You know, Hernandez did push back to create room, because when you have long arms, you usually need a little room to punch on the inside, especially when you're throwing round punches and not short, straight punches. And you could see Hernandez a moment ago, he was too close to really connect. The only thing that's really going to connect when you're a long arm fighter, when you're in close and you don't know how to throw short punches, is the uppercut.
Hernandez and Bolanos at the end of round number 4. On the door of heavyweight prominence again. Jamil McCline has a golden opportunity against Vitaly Klitschko coming up. Juan Urango, of course, faced Ricky Hatton, and Teddy Atlas knows this guy well. Southpaw heavyweight champion, first Southpaw heavyweight champion, Double M, Michael Moore.
2-time heavyweight champion. He gained his title a 2nd time.
Very special night against Evander Holyfield at Caesars Palace. And he is a frequent visitor to the South Florida fight scene. Always see Michael ringside down here.
Now that option that I talked about, I suggested that Hernandez might pull out of his hat the opportunity to go outside and use those long arms. It looks like this round he decides to start out doing that. But he winds up back inside. You know, you never know when you have fighters that turn young, turn pro young, when they're they're going to stop that growing spurt, when they're going to mature, when they're going to fill out. Some guys continue filling out until maybe 21 or so. Bolanos, when he turned pro at 17, he was 130 pounds. He never changed that weight. He never grew any from there. That was his maximum. He filled out right there at 17 years of age. Tonight, actually 128. Hernandez, when he turned pro at the same age, 17, he was only 117 pounds. He has grown to what he is tonight, 128 pounds, and you could see with that frame that he has, he's not done.
Not at all.
You know, you could see that he's still filling out, and that strength, that growing, I think has given him an advantage just in explosiveness, in pure power and physicality tonight over Bolanos. That's been the difference in this fight tonight.
Yeah, he looks wiry at 128 pounds. You can easily see that frame. He's still only 20 years old, heading towards lightweight, and who knows how far and how deep his career would go, where he could go.
I mean, you just look at the body of Bolanos, and you can see that body stopped growing some years ago, even though he's only 20.
Hernandez now jumps on Bolanos a bit after landing that right hand, backs him up, pushes back to create room for the left hand, which was blocked, but that left hand upstairs connected, trying to get that hook around that right guard.
Again, if you're not taught how to fight inside, to shorten your punches up when you're a long, tall guy like Hernandez, you usually need a little room. And Hernandez, you could see, pushing off, stepping back, trying to create a little room for those long punches. Right there, steps back and tries to score with a counter left hook.
Jose Hernandez and Noe Bolanos, 1 to go. Knockout, seen so many great replays of the action here. That's thanks to our lead tape operator, Matt Mills, who we want to say happy wedding anniversary. His wife Lori made the trip down here to South Florida. Matt and Lori celebrating 20 years of marriage today. All the best and many more. Round number 6. Jose Hernandez.
Congratulations there, Matt.
Good night against Noe Bolanos so far for Hernandez. 201 connects and counting. That's 50 plus more than Bolanos. He scored a knockdown in round number 1 and has been very active since then.
Well, Bolanos is going to turn this fight around. He's going to have to do it with a sudden barrage, and he's going to have to do it this round because I have him well behind in this fight, and he's going to have to do it on the inside. He's a shorter guy, and he's accommodated to that position by Hernandez, who gives up his height, feels very comfortable in the trenches inside, has been able to win there all night long. Bolanos is going to have to probably wait for one of those wide shots from Hernandez, Joe. And as it comes, try to punch right inside.
Right hand comes raining in from Hernandez.
Well, that's not how you're going to get the job down if you're Bolanos, pulling back from the wide punches. You pull back from wide shots, and you pull into them. You have to stay inside the eye of the storm. Now, this is where Bolanos must do some work. Not pulling back. He's got to pull in. What I think he has to do is sit right there in the pocket now, and when something comes wide, don't straighten out, don't pull out, and punch inside something.
Took from Hernandez and then comes back with a right hand. Right on the inside now.
If I was Bolanos, I would sit on one punch right now. I think I would make up my mind I'm going to sit on a right hand.
And just look for that moment.
Yeah, just sit on a straight right hand and just wait for a left hook from Hernandez to start, and then just let the right hand go.
there was the left hook from Hernandez, but he doubled it up, and Bolanos did not throw anything back. Good straight right hand from Hernandez to close out the final moments of this final round. It's a good evening for the 20-year-old from Fort Worth, Jose Hernandez, on his way to win number 7. We will come back and hear from the judges when we return to Wednesday Night Fight. And on a skip out on Friday Night Fights for that. The total punches between Jose Hernandez and Noe Bolanos. The total punches, Hernandez really got going right from the start, scored that knockdown early, a 251 to 181 advantage. Jumped out on Teddy Atlas's scorecard with that 10-8 first round and then coasted home from there 60 to 53. For the official word, we send it up to the ring to Bob Alexander.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, Hollywood, after 6 rounds of boxing, we go to the scorecards. All 3 judges, Mark Streisand, Michael Pernick, and Peter Trematera, scored about 60-53 for the winner by unanimous decision, Jose El Loco Hernandez.
Nothing crazy about that. Hernandez, after an 11-month layoff, and the first loss of his career against Matt Remillard that was last September, with a very nice bounce back, and he gets the win to move to 7-1. More Wednesday Night Fights when we return to Hollywood.